This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. Stanley was happy. One day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that led into the monitor. Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any. Stanley walked Stanley knew the office in his box. Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. Stanley took a first don't like the Stanley decided to go to the meeting. Stanley's obsession with the Stanley didn't just Stanley decided Oh, come now. You don't want it to end already, do you? Why don't we begin again? Wait, how did you do that?
Ja, hallo und herzlich willkommen zu Stanley. Sie spielen das Stanley Parable und ja, das Spiel hatte ich schon mal gezockt und das ist schon eine Weile her. Da hatte ich es mit Maus und Tastatur gespielt. Mich wundert es eigentlich, dass es auch mit dem Controller geht. Ich dachte, das ging nicht damit. Ein Spiel, wo ich nicht zu viel dazu sagen muss, denn das erzählt sich auch von selbst. Wie Alan Wake praktisch fast. Also nicht vom Spiel jetzt her verglichen, sondern es spielt sich von selbst, weil der Erzähler in diesem Spiel das alles für uns erzählt. Ich habe es schon mal in die Option eingestellt, ja, mit Untertitel, Moment, Tastatur, Video, Audio, Moment, Hochqualität, Untertitel, alle. Ich habe mal alle eingestellt, ich glaube, das ist richtig und ich würde sagen, wir fangen jetzt mal an. Ja, es lädt. Bin gespannt, also mit Controller.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ja, was ich kurz noch sagen wollte, das spiele ich natürlich auf meine Weise durch. Ich glaube, bei dem Spiel gibt es einige Enden, ich weiß nicht, wie viele es sind und es wird jetzt mein Ende sein. Ja, die Kantenglättung, das stimmt nicht so, aber ich muss mal kurz in die Option gehen. Entschuldigung dafür, denn... Puh. Also 16 zu 9 ist klar. Laptop-Energie sparen, ja, das... Weiß nicht, was das Auflösung. Okay. Moment, hier stand gerade 1600 mal 900, also in. Sorry, ich. Ja. Man hat meinen PC gesehen. Alles klar. Es ist etwas weg. Und ja, wir gehen mal raus. Jetzt wird es sowieso erklärt. Niemand da, keiner. Stanley ist alleine. Sei das erste Mal
All
überhaupt.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh Mann, er läuft ja ziemlich schnell. Ich kann nach oben, nach unten schauen. Ich wusste jetzt nicht, ob es richtig alles funktioniert. Na, geh durch. Dürfte auch nicht so lang gehen, glaube ich.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ich gehe jetzt nicht durch die linke Tür, weil... wieso ist das Bild jetzt so komisch? Das kann doch nicht wahr sein, ey. Leute, es tut mir wirklich leid. Die Balken, vielleicht ist das ja normal, aber ja, 16 zu 9, ja, okay. Ich lasse es jetzt mal.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ja, ich spiele es auf meine Weise. Ja, die Balken, vielleicht seht ihr sie ja dann gar nicht mehr, wenn ich es umgewandelt und reingestellt habe. Das kann natürlich dann auch sein. Niemand da. Niemand. Nobody home. Ist doch dieselbe Tür, also wäre ich da bestimmt... Nein, ich dachte schon, dort rausgekommen.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Okay. Nein. Mache ich nicht.
Yes, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Die erste offene Tür für linken. Nein. Ich gehe geradeaus.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Also solche Ideen, solche innovative Ideen gefallen mir an Spielen. Das ist wirklich Wahnsinn. Also.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Ja.
Stanley, your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Wer wartet auf mich? Wer ist sie? Geil gemacht, also echt.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Wieso? Geile Sache, echt. Oh nein,
Oh,
ja.
Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Das will ich nicht.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Hallo? Warum ist das jetzt hier so schwarz? Ah, naja. Na, danke für den Scherz. Ich kann da jetzt nicht lang. Klatsch.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Guten Morgen, Angestellter 427. Drücke LB auf deinem Controller.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Das ist richtig, das Spiel finde ich so geil.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Wollte mich echt jetzt zwingen, jeden Knopf zu drücken? Ja, ich glaube, ja.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Nein.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Das ist so fies. Okay, ich drück den Knopf nicht ab. Aber was passiert dann? Ich tue es nicht. Nein. Aber ich muss X drücken. Ich muss es.
You see? Can you just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Ah, hallo? What the... Moment, Mauszeiger im Bild. Das könnte jetzt... Ich glaube... Das ist immer wieder der Anfang.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, wahrscheinlich sollte ich diesmal die Türen nehmen, die richtig für mich
When
sind.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay. Ich folge mal den Anweisungen.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Nach oben. Okay, dann gehe ich nach oben. Nein. Oder ja.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Das habe ich mir jetzt nicht gemerkt.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
2845, wo soll ich das jetzt eintippen? Es ist für mich ziemlich dunkel.
2845.
Wo denn? Nein, bitte, was ist denn los? Hier geht doch nichts auf.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Ja, wuppdidu. Wirklich wahr, ey, echt. Ich gehe hier lang. Hätte nicht gedacht, dass es so lang geht, weil ich weiß, das Spiel ist irgendwie kurz. War, glaube ich, auch irgendwie ein Experiment.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Oh. Mind Control Facility, also eine Gedankenkontroll-Dingsbums. Das ist das ganze Spiel. Und wir
The
drücken
lights
die
rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Ja. Ob wir das jemals rausfinden werden, was hier wirklich los ist.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself? Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going. What all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them.
0521.
I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story.
Oh, nein.
Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's
Ich weiß es nicht, ich weiß es nicht.
hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you.
Ich hab
running from
das
button to
nicht.
button, screen to screen, clicking
bin
on every
gleich
little thing in
tot.
this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
1, 2, egal. Es ist
You're in for
einfach
quite a
egal.
disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle.
Macht mich wahnsinnig,
30
ja.
seconds until a big
Meine
movement
Güte.
will happen. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go
Leute, ich
peacefully?
weiß es nicht, echt.
Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke.
Ich warte
And believe
einfach
me,
ab.
I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the
3,
moment we fade
2,
in until the moment I
1.
say happily ever after.
Ach, Mann. Das ist so blöd. Es gibt ja einige Enden für das Spiel, also... Und alles beginnt hier im Büro, wo man sehr, sehr gelangweilt ist. Und ja, das soll es auch gewesen sein, weil wer das Spiel man kann es ganz legal ziehen. Ich glaube, das ist irgendwie, das ist auch kostenlos. Ja, schönes Spiel, das Stanley Parable. Ja, was mich immer stört, das sind Entschuldigung, ist also... Das ist hier die Kantenklettung. Ich weiß nicht, warum ich das nicht umstellen konnte. Auf jeden Fall hat es mir Spaß gemacht. Ein Spiel, was man nicht so ernst nehmen sollte und wo man sich nicht so nerven lassen sollte. Von dem ich wusste jetzt wirklich nicht mehr, irgendwie welchen Code ich eintippen soll. Man hat genügend Zeit gehabt, aber ja, geht man die falsche Tür, geht man die richtige Tür, keine Ahnung. Ich weiß nicht mehr, wie viele Enden das hat. Jedenfalls hat es mir Spaß gemacht und ja, bis zum nächsten Mal. Ich bin da erstmal weg. Vielen Dank fürs Zusehen und Zuhören. Ciao.